When considering making a bold move, such as packing your life up, moving it lock, stock, and barrel to another country in Asia, there are some very important things to consider to ensure that things go as smooth as possible, to avoid pitfalls, even disasters. It goes without saying that planning and preparation is key to making this happen and thinking things through intelligently. So I'm going to discuss just a few key points that hopefully will be of use to you if you are considering the possibility of making an important move to another country, perhaps in Asia. When I moved to Asia, the most important aspect of the entire move is a financial one, because without that element, nothing happens, nothing's possible. One of the key mistakes that I saw from other expats is that they had underestimated the setup costs in another country, even in Asia, where things are obviously cheaper than in the West. Countless stories of people watching YouTube videos about having a better life in a cheaper country, but completely on unrealistic budgets, and being misled into the fantasy of being able to pack a bag, jump on a plane, and live on a few $100s a month with no financial backup. Now, whilst it's true that you can enjoy a much more comfortable life in Asia that is cheaper in comparison with the West, due to rampant inflation across the world, this has resulted in increasing rental accommodation and prices on generalized things all the way through to groceries. Having a realistic budget will save you from becoming one of those horror stories that we hear about all too often of a Westerner desperately appealing on social media to get some form of financial help or assistance because they've either mismanaged their money from overspending or being scammed, or just being too unrealistic with their expectations for the quality of life that they can get with their budget. Now, generally speaking, in most Asian countries, you can, as a single guy, live a moderately comfortable life in clean, safe accommodations such as a small studio condo, eat out at local food markets every night without even having to cook for yourself, get all your laundry done for you, including enjoying at least some recreational entertainment, maybe a couple of beers occasionally with the lads, or taking a girl out for a coffee and a bite to eat, whilst taking care of most of your needs for around $1,300 a month. Of course, everyone is different in terms of what they prefer to allocate their budget to. Some people prefer nicer accommodation but don't go out as much, while others prefer a much more lively social life with plenty of dating. $1,500 would be preferable, and if you can nudge the $2K a month mark, you've really cracked it over here. Now, whether you're collecting your pension or you've allocated a sizable amount of money that's been divided by a number of years to see you through, or maybe you are producing some income through investments or running a small online business, your monthly income is your budget and therefore your quality of life. But it's only the first part of the equation. The second part of the equation is having financial backup. I would say that it's a strong recommendation that you need a backup reserve of at least 10K as an absolute minimum, preferably 20K or more for emergency costs such as medical treatment, condo, security deposits, flights home to see family, and other unforeseen circumstances that can potentially happen at any time. Maybe your social security check is delayed for some reason or goes missing, and perhaps there's a problem in accessing your funds temporarily, or maybe you've just decided after a while that a life abroad isn't for you. For a variety of different reasons, you want to return home and re-establish yourself. And whilst you've been away, unfortunately, costs have risen to the point where you've been priced out of being able to do that. You need to have peace of mind that you have an amount of money in reserve just in case the unthinkable happens. If your funds ever get so low that they start approaching the amount of money that you need to get a ticket home, then that is what you must do. The overall quality of life that you can have over here will depend on your resources and your budget. But you need to know precisely what your budget is and stay within it. There is no safety net for you in Asia. No government support, and if you burn through your cash or get scammed out of it, nobody's going to give a damn. So make sure from the very start that you are adequately funded. You have a regular income of some kind, and more importantly, you have access to that income and reserve funds from a variety of different methods. With the advent of fintech companies such as Wise, Revolut, Remitly, etc., you must have several options that will enable you to get access to your money. So if one fails, there's a backup, and if that one fails, there's also another backup to that one. Keep some money spread around between different accounts and link them together so that you can move money swiftly and easily when you really need it. Now, moving on to another subject, healthcare planning dependent upon your age and your fitness levels, combined with your hobbies and interests and the level of risk that they involve. Health insurance is often overlooked, and medication can be expensive or even unavailable in some provincial areas. Obviously, being located close to good reputable hospitals, especially in the city, can be the difference between life and death. Emergency situations are much smoother if hospitals accept your insurance. For short-term travel insurance, a company like SafetyWay might be appropriate, and when looking at longer-term insurance, maybe Pacific Blue Cross, to mention just a couple. Some people prefer to self-insure and have a larger backup fund that includes an amount of money specifically set aside for covering any potential medical costs associated with accidents or illnesses. It's true that medical treatment costs are significantly lower than in the West, but they can still add up over time, and it's better to have peace of mind knowing that you can reclaim those costs, or at least most of them, in the event that something happens. Now, another subject that can cause real problems, relationships. Many men arrive from the West in Asia having been through horrendous divorces or separations, and may have gone through periods of being single or even isolation for a period of time. Then, upon becoming aware of the opportunity to make connection with Asian girls, mainly online, having spent months, sometimes even years, cultivating a relationship online with a girl, only to find that when they finally make it over here and meet that person in person, things are not what they seemed. The temptation of rushing into a relationship and getting too serious too quickly, or jumping into marriage without living with their partner for an initial period of time, let's say 1 year or so, to allow time for their real personality to come through. It's a pitfall that many men fall into. Arriving in a foreign land, having the attention of young exotic girls, it's enough to make you take leave of your senses. Your options increase tenfold, or for the first time in ages, you've actually got options. And it can be overwhelmingly intoxicating getting used to this kind of attention. Taking time to get to know someone in person is paramount to finding out what kind of person you're really dealing with and whether their intentions are sincere towards you. If you've made the mistake of sending money occasionally or mixing money with romance, the danger is that you've created expectations or a benchmark that you now have to continue to meet. The saying, "fool and his money is easily parted," rings true in the minds of many men who have, in the quest for love, opened their wallets too wide too quickly, from helping out occasionally all the way up to building houses, only to arrive in person and told to F off, not realizing that in some countries, as in Asia, such as the Philippines and even Thailand, you can only own a house in the name of your wife. So you end up losing the girl, you lose your money, and you lose the house potentially. It's not a good position to be in, and it's better to avoid the mixing of money and romance from the very beginning. Another important point to consider is that when you're making long-term commitments for a condo or any accommodation, the initial excitement of being here and putting roots down before you've fully evaluated the best areas to live in different locations can cloud your judgment. With platforms like Booking and Airbnb, it's possible nowadays to get a taste of several different locations for a few days or weeks before settling down somewhere. And you can test out various condo residences to see if they meet your expectations and suit your requirements in terms of location, positioning, and amenities. Another point to mention here is that if you are in some kind of relationship with a girl, the chances are that she will want to stay within the local vicinity to where her family is. In an effort to please her, you might be persuaded to move to her town or village. Now, this may not necessarily be the right thing for you, as you could end up being unhappy within the area through lack of amenities, or it could be too remote in province. Make sure that you are really completely happy with that location. For example, there's a noticeable problem across some cities, even beaches and nature spots with trash. It could be that locals in that particular village or town are blasting karaoke music out all night long, or the constant noise of roosters and barking of dogs is enough to drive you mad. Surveying the area and spending a little time there first can save a lot of problems and financial issues in the long run. Now, last but not least, there are ways in which you can save money with the use of apps such as Grab and Bolt. When using either a motorbike or car taxi services, having these apps gives you a cost-effective way of getting around most towns and cities without the need to start haggling prices or getting ripped off by taxi drivers, and also avoids unwanted potential disputes. You select your location, followed by your destination, and a price is given. If you link this up to your payment methods, such as a credit or debit card, the payment is made instantly, and that is that. It completely removes the element of having problems with being overcharged. They also offer other services in those apps, such as ordering food, which can be delivered to your hotel or condo, or even shopping that can be collected from supermarkets and delivered to your door. So there's just a few points to think about that can make things go a little bit smoother. Just things to consider and keep at the back of your mind when you're moving to another country in Asia that could potentially save you headaches and even money.